Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back here with another video. And I know this is specifically directed. Really, I want as many people as with any of my videos. I pretty much want as many as possible to hopefully watch and preferably enjoy them, and for them to make the world a better place. But I suppose this is targeted more for my fellow mixed race people, my fellow mutts, as I jokingly call us. And normally I like to do so on a Monday because it's like mixed race Mondays and all that due to my alliterations. But I really wanted to say this message. For my fellow mixed race people. I don't know if I can convince my fellow mixed race people. I'd love us to be, without being narcissistic about it, I'd love for us to be the peace, love, and light of the world and that kind of thing. I hope that doesn't sound like narcissistic or whatever. But I'd love to know what you think. Anyone's welcome to comment, or obviously I welcome all views and that kind of thing. I know this room's a bit dark. I haven't really put too many lights on. I do have the lamp and one light. Probably should have put more lights on, but due to the cost of electricity and all that kind of thing, which is one thing that war contributes to, and it contributes to affecting the people. I think it adversely affects almost everyone except for maybe a very few select at the top, shall we say. Some might call them the elites or whatever you want to call them. So one of my main dreams, and I was thinking about covering this a while back, but I've been seeing some videos somehow that I stumbled across, which were like about the war that's going on in Israel and Palestine, and I was thinking about the war between Russia and Ukraine and other wars that have happened, like Iraq and all that kind of thing, and what people have done to each other. And I often say I'm not that religious, although I do agree with some parts of the Bible and possibly other religions as well. Like, for instance, about peace, love, joy, charity, and stuff like that, helping others. I'm probably not very good at helping others, but I do try. I would love to have more energy and be more organized. But anyway, I want to try and get some message. Sorry, but my message is, and a plea to my fellow mixed race people, to my fellow mutts, ironically perhaps, is that we don't. I hope that my fellow mutts, and I dream that my fellow mutts, again, I did want to cover this a while back. I dream that we won't join militaries, gangs, terrorism, or anything that breaks the law, or anything that's violent, or anything like that. I mean, it's difficult if we lived in certain countries, especially for mutts that live in certain countries where they have forced conscription. I hope we'll lobby to change some of those laws so that people can refuse to join the military if they want to. I mean, people who want to, I think they should be able to. But I definitely hope my fellow mixed race people won't join militaries, gangs, terrorism, and violence, or even law breaking. Again, the last one is a bit a dilemma because it might contradict. I was going to say contribute, contradict the first point about not joining militaries, because in some countries it's sort of forced. I mean, I'd love it to be sort of a protocol for mixed race people to stick to, for want of a better term, maybe, where we won't join militaries and we'll lobby for those rights internationally, so we don't have to join militaries. All the situations that are going on in the world, I think you'll see that with the Houthis and people like that, there's going to be targets, or there already are targets for military personnel from Britain and America and elsewhere who are traveling to the Red Sea or whatever it's called. And I think it would be better to avoid all those sorts of wars. And I think another thing is that's for our own personal point of view and our own personal safety, but I think it's a biblical teaching that, again, I'm not that religious, but I think there is a biblical teaching. I heard someone who is religious say, I've not read all the Bible, or even much of it, but they said that whoever takes up arms will be taken up against them. And so from a selfish point of view, for our own good, I don't think we should join militaries. I think we should lobby not to do so. Again, I don't think we should join gangs. That's taking up arms. People will take up arms against you, again, for selfish and not selfish reasons, and non-selfish or selfless reasons, more selfless reasons. And similar with terrorism, and similar with breaking the law or using violence generally. And also, I'd just love for mutts, as I call us, to be. I think it'd be quite ironic considering what people call us, like, and what people say about us, and like even I use terms like pure breeds and mutts and things like that. But I think I'm probably one of the few that actually does use those terms, but I think what people have said about us in history, and some of the far right people, I think we'd be able to prove them wrong, and I don't think they'd be able to say that easily anymore about us, like saying that we're criminal or that I've seen things from I don't normally check out their websites anymore because it gives them money and views. It gives them views and money and that kind of thing, which is obviously something I wouldn't want to do. I'd rather help those who are decent and that kind of thing, and my fellow POC, people of colour, as I would see it. But what my chain of thought? Yeah, so they say things about mixed race people being violent and things like that. And maybe many mixed race people are violent, but I'd love for us to be very unviolent. Like if we went to a gym and we learned martial arts and things like that, I think we should only use that in self-defense or defense of the vulnerable. We join militaries, gangs, terrorism, or law breaking or violence generally, or things like that, then we can get into fights that we needn't be involved in. And there's a number of reasons why I could go into this all night, really, but the things I think from selfish point of view, so obviously we can get injured ourselves, put ourselves in danger, our families in danger and whatnot, which I suppose you could always do anyway because people might disagree with your points. And I suppose the other argument could be you could become a target if you don't defend yourself, but maybe we could defend ourselves, but only if necessary. But I'd love for us to call a truce on the world, but I think a lot of selfless reasons as well could be included. Like, for instance, if we don't join militaries, gangs, terrorism, or things like that, we could do a lot more for helping communities, networking with others, helping others, doing a lot of volunteering and charity and good things around the world. Again, being the light of the world, so to speak. And I hope that doesn't come across, I'm trying to think, in a sacrilegious or whatever way. In fact, quite the contrary. But yeah, I'd love for us to avoid fights as much as we can. And obviously, as I say, if someone does come at you with a knife or hurt you or try to hurt you or attack you, then I think you have every right to defend yourself. It's best to try and avoid those situations. But if someone does treat you badly, I think if someone does spit on you or do something bad to you, then I think you have every right to hit back and whatnot. Especially with all the diseases nowadays, like people spit on you. But yeah, I just dream that we won't join militaries, gangs, terrorism, violence, or things like that. I hope, and stroke or law breaking, and I hope to discourage such things, and like mixed race people who are in the military or in other countries where there's forced conscription. I hope we'll lobby to be able to leave. And I dream that we won't join in the first place if we can help it, but also that we will lobby to leave and have like lobby groups where we work with, and also we can network with peace groups. And I think we should be a bridge between different nations, not helping people to invade each other and fight each other over land, given our ancestral roots. Like, I have part Irish blood, part Indian blood, part Irish, part Scottish, part French, part Indian and part English. So why, and that kind of thing. So why would I want to invade or help to invade another nation where most of the people might not have done wrong? And I think wars always really affect the poor in a bad way. So if we want to help the poor, even as say from a less selfish point of view, I think it's bad to join militaries. But yeah, I'm trying to explain this with I think we should be a bridge between different countries, cultures, and nations, and not again helping to invade other nations for their oil or whatever other resources they've got for their money and resources. And if we look back in history, I mean, my people, so to speak, my specific mix, which are Anglo-Indian. I think there's two theories on how Anglo-Indians were made, so to speak. One is that the British wanted to divide India, so they made Anglo-Indians so that there'd be some sort of division, because we would have a different way of thinking, a different culture, different upbringing, religion, things like that. A lot of Anglo-Indians, most Anglo-Indians were some form or some branch of Christian. I know a lot of people say Catholicism is fake and whatever, but many were Catholic, some were probably Protestant and whatever. So it's a sort of way to divide India, apparently, which I think would be quite ironic if Anglo-Indians actually helped India to sort of have the opposite effect. If we helped their economy, it'd be quite a funny irony, I think. But another theory is that when soldiers were overseas, they didn't have many Western women or whatever, say British women in this case, so they would cohabit, what's the right word to say, they would produce offspring, shall we say, in the politest possible way with local ladies or whatever. But there are some people who say historically some families were even given money to produce Anglo-Indians so they could help to divide India and things like that. So I think it'd be interesting if mixed race people now were people who helped to unite, especially POC, people of colour, and African and Asian nations, and things like that. But I really dream that I can encourage as many of my fellow mixed race people to become conscientious objectors and pacifists. And I could go on longer, but I'm going to wrap this video up. And I'd love to know what you think as ever, if you agree or disagree. And again, there's so much else I could say, and I'm going to stop waffling. Peace and love.